Your MCP server needs specific environment variables to run, but you don't want to expose your entire shell environment to the subprocess. We'll show you how to selectively forward only the required variables using Python's os.environ, then pass them explicitly to the server through the StdioTransport. This pattern keeps your configuration clean while ensuring the server has exactly what it needs. No more, no less.
Import os. From FastMCP client transports, import StdioTransport. Required vars equals API key. Database URL, redis host. Env equals var, os.environ var. For var in required vars. If var in os.environ. Transport equals StdioTransport. Command equals Python. Args equals server, py. Env equals env. Client equals client, transport.
This demonstrates the environment isolation pattern for subprocess management. The code shows how to explicitly pass required environment variables to a child process, rather than relying on inherited shell environment. This pattern is distinctive because it enforces strict control over what configuration the subprocess can access, preventing accidental leaks of sensitive data. The approach works by creating a controlled execution context where only explicitly declared variables are forwarded. This follows the principle of least privilege, where the subprocess receives only what it needs to function, not the entire parent environment. The separation between parent and child environments creates a security boundary while maintaining flexibility through explicit configuration. This pattern matters because it solves the common problem of environment pollution in subprocess workflows. Without isolation, child processes might accidentally access sensitive credentials or inconsistent configurations. The trade-off is that you must explicitly declare required variables, but this makes dependencies visible and prevents hidden coupling to the parent environment. It's particularly valuable for security-sensitive applications, CI/CD pipelines, or any scenario where subprocesses need controlled access to configuration. Let's break it down line by line.
Import os.
Imports Python's os module for environment variable access and file system operations. This enables reading configuration from environment variables, which is critical for secure credential management in production.
From FastMCP client transports, import StdioTransport.
This imports StdioTransport, a FastMCP transport that communicates with the server via stdin/stdout. It enables local process execution while maintaining the same interface as network transports.
Required vars equals API key. Database URL, redis host.
Defines required environment variables as a whitelist. This prevents accidental use of undefined variables and ensures only explicitly needed configuration is passed to the child process. The list acts as documentation for what the server actually requires to run.
Env equals.
This initializes an environment dictionary for process configuration. It selectively includes only the required environment variables that exist, preventing missing key errors when launching the subprocess.
Var, os.environ var.
This is a dictionary comprehension that safely extracts environment variables. It only includes variables that exist in os.environ, preventing key error exceptions for missing values. The pattern ensures required configuration is available before passing it to the transport.
For var in required vars.
This iterates through the required vars list, checking each environment variable. It's the validation step that ensures only explicitly required variables are processed, preventing accidental inclusion of unrelated environment values. This pattern creates a controlled allow list for configuration.
If var in os.environ.
This conditional checks if the environment variable exists in the system's environment variables. It prevents key error exceptions by only including variables that are actually set, making the dictionary construction safe. This is defensive programming for environment configuration. This closing brace terminates the dictionary comprehension that filters environment variables. It ensures only required existing variables from os.environ are included in the env dictionary, preventing missing key errors during transport initialization.
Transport equals StdioTransport.
This initializes a StdioTransport, the IPC mechanism that connects the client to the FastMCP server process. It handles stdin/stdout communication, enabling cross-process tool execution while keeping the server isolated. The pattern ensures clean separation between client and server environments.
Command equals Python.
Specifies the base command to execute the subprocess. Here it explicitly uses the system's Python interpreter, ensuring the server PyScript runs in the same Python environment as the parent process.
Args equals server Py.
Specifies the server script to execute as a subprocess. This is the entry point for the FastMCP server process, defining which Python file contains the main server logic. The pattern mirrors how subprocess Popin would pass arguments to a command line invocation.
Env equals env.
This passes the filtered environment variables to the subprocess. Critical for security, it ensures sensitive credentials from the parent process are available to server Py without hard-coding them. Follows the 12-factor app pattern for configuration via environment variables. This closing parenthesis finalizes the StdioTransport initialization. It passes the configured environment variables and command arguments to the transport layer, establishing the communication channel between client and server.
Client equals client, transport.
Instantiates the FastMCP client using the configured transport. This is the entry point for all server communication, handling connection management and request routing. The transport parameter ensures the client uses our pre-configured StdioTransport with environment variables. Environment isolation pattern. StdioTransport in FastMCP2 creates a clean boundary between client and server environments, forcing explicit configuration through the env parameter rather than inheriting shell variables. The dictionary comprehension silently skips missing environment variables, which can lead to subtle runtime failures if required variables aren't properly validated. Always validate your environment variables before passing them to the transport layer.
The server that knows nothing of its environment becomes the most portable server.